My name is Lauren. I am 29 years old. I live alone in a small flat near the school where I work. I teach young children. I like my job. I like my quiet life. I do not have many friends. I do not go to parties. I never thought something big would happen to me. But one day, it did. It was a cold Monday morning. I was waiting for the bus. My hands were cold. The sky was gray. I just wanted the bus to come. Then I saw a man standing a few steps away. He looked new. He was checking his phone again and again. His name was David, but I didn't know that yet. The next day, he was there again. Then the next. For 1 week, we waited at the same stop. We didn't speak. We didn't smile. But I noticed him. I think he noticed me too. On Friday, I dropped my bag. My apple rolled away. The man picked it up and gave it to me. "You might want this," he said. I smiled. "Thank you," yet I said. "I eat one every morning." He smiled back. "Good habit." That was the first time we talked. After that, we started to say hello every morning. Then we talked about the weather, about the bus, about the slow traffic. It felt nice. He said his name was David. He worked at a small phone repair shop. I told him about the school. I liked our little talks. They made my day better. One morning he said, "Do you want to get coffee with me sometime?" I said yes. After that, we saw each other on weekends. We went for long walks. We watched movies. We talked about silly things. I liked how calm he was. He never rushed me. He never made me feel small. I felt happy when I was with him. We started dating. It was simple. We went to the market together. He helped me fix my old TV. I helped him buy new shoes. We didn't do big things, but the small things felt special. He made me feel safe. He didn't talk much about his past. He said he moved here from another town. He didn't have family nearby. I didn't ask too many questions. I thought he would tell me when he was ready. Sometimes I cooked for him. He always said thank you. Sometimes we sat in silence. It didn't feel strange. It felt warm, like he was part of my quiet world. We dated for 6 months. We had good days and some small fights. Nothing big. I thought we were fine. My friends liked him. My brother met him once and said, "He seems okay." That was good enough for me. But then things changed. He started to text less. He didn't call at night like before. He said he was tired. He said work was busy. I believed him. One Saturday, we planned to meet for dinner. I got ready and waited outside his shop. I waited for 1 hour. He didn't come. I called him. No answer. He didn't call that night. Or the next day. I felt something was wrong. But I still waited. On Monday, he called. His voice was low. He said, "I'm sorry. I need space." I said, "Why? Did I do something?" He said, "No. It's not you. I just feel lost." I asked him, "Do you still want to be with me?" He said, "I don't know." Then he hung up. I sat in my room, quiet for a long time. I didn't cry right away. I didn't even move. I just felt empty. He didn't call again. I stopped eating much. I went to work and came home. I didn't see friends. I didn't answer messages. Everything felt quiet and cold. I deleted his number, but I still remembered it. I tried to forget his voice, his smile, the way he looked at me when I talked. People told me to forget him. They said, "You'll find someone better." But I didn't want someone else. I just wanted to know why he left. I wanted to understand. I blamed myself. Maybe I was too quiet. Maybe I asked too many questions. Maybe I wasn't enough. But deep inside, I knew none of that was true. He left because he wanted to leave. A year passed. Slowly, quietly, I started doing better. I went out sometimes. I watched shows. I made new friends at work. I smiled more. But something inside me stayed closed, like a door I didn't want to open again. I stopped walking near the bus stop where we met. I took another street. I didn't want to see his shop. I didn't want to see him. But I still thought of him. Sometimes I dreamed he came back. I dreamed he said, "Sorry." But in the dream, I always walked away. Then one day, his name showed up on my phone. My heart started beating fast. I didn't want to answer, but I did. His voice was soft. "Hi, it's me." I didn't speak. "I'm sorry," he said. "I made a mistake." I still didn't speak. "I think about you all the time," he said. "Can we meet?" I don't know why, but I said yes. We met at a small cafe. He looked different. His face was tired. His hair was longer. But when he looked at me, it felt like no time had passed. He said, "I left because I was scared. I didn't know how to love someone the right way." I asked, "What do you want now?" He said, "Another chance. If you'll let me." I didn't know what to say. The man who made me feel special also made me feel alone. Now he was back. He wanted to try again. I looked at him across the table. I saw his eyes. I heard his words. But my heart was quiet. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I just sat there. Before I share the rest of my story, I need to know, where are you listening from? Knowing someone hears me, understands me, gives me strength. We sat in that cafe for almost an hour. He talked. I listened. At times he looked at me like he was trying to find the girl he once knew. But I had changed. I was not the same Lauren anymore. I had lived through the silence, through the waiting, through the pain. David said he had been unhappy before, not with me, but with himself. He didn't feel ready for love. He didn't know how to care for someone without feeling trapped. I wanted to ask, then why did you come into my life at all? But I didn't. I just nodded slowly and looked at my cup. He asked if we could start again, little by little. He said he missed talking to me. He missed how I listened, how I made tea when he was tired, how I smiled with my eyes, not just my mouth. I wanted to feel something, but all I felt was cold. Still, I agreed to meet again. I don't know why. Maybe I needed to see if he meant it. Maybe I wanted to know if people can really change. Over the next few weeks, we met twice. Once in the park, once after work. He tried to be careful. He didn't ask too many questions. He didn't touch my hand. He spoke like he was walking on glass. I could see he was trying, but I didn't know if trying was enough. At night, I lay in bed and thought about everything. The way he left, the way I cried, the way I had to put my life back together, one small piece at a time. I remembered how I used to wait for his calls, how I stared at my phone for hours, how I blamed myself for weeks. Now he was here, trying again, but something inside me didn't move. Not like before. One Sunday afternoon, we sat on a bench near the river. The water was quiet. So were we. Then he said something that stayed in my mind. I never stopped thinking about you, even when I tried to move on. I turned my head slowly. Did you see someone else? He looked away. Yes, but it didn't last. I kept comparing her to you. It wasn't fair to her. I felt a small pain in my chest, like a pinch. So he had found someone else. While I was still crying over him, he had tried again with someone new. But it didn't surprise me. I had imagined it already. What do you want from me, David? I asked. Do you want me to forget everything? Just act like you never left? No, he said. I just want a chance to do better. I didn't answer. I didn't know how to answer. That night, I talked to my friend Sophie. She was the only person who knew the full story. She said, "People don't change in 1 year, Lauren. They change when they lose something. Maybe he did. Maybe he means it now. But you don't owe him anything." Her words stayed with me. The next time I saw David, we walked in the park again. The sun was setting. The light made everything feel soft and slow. He asked if I could give him one chance. Not a big one, just one small step. I looked at his face and saw hope. He looked like someone who wanted to be better. Or maybe just someone who didn't want to feel alone. I don't know what I feel, I said. Some days I miss you. Some days I hate you. And some days I feel nothing. He was quiet. Then he said, "Thank you for being honest." I didn't know if I could love him again. I didn't know if I even wanted to. But I didn't want to make a decision too fast. So I said, "Let's just talk. No promises." He smiled and said, "That's enough for me." Days turned into weeks. He messaged me in the morning. Sometimes we talked on the phone. He told me small things. What he ate for lunch. What book he was reading. He didn't rush me. He didn't ask too much. But still, I felt nervous. I felt unsure. My heart didn't know which way to turn. One evening, it rained hard. I stayed home with a cup of tea. He sent a message. "Can I bring you soup?" I stared at the message for a long time. A part of me wanted to say yes. A warm bowl. A warm face. A quiet night. But another part of me said no. Because I remembered what happened the last time I let him in. So I didn't reply. The next day, he didn't text again. He waited for me to speak first. I didn't. Not that day. Not the day after. I didn't know if I wanted to let him come back. I didn't know if my heart could take it again. How do you know when someone has really changed? How do you trust the same person who broke your trust before? How do you choose between fear and hope? I still didn't have an answer. The days passed. I kept thinking about David, about the past, about now. I asked myself the same questions again and again. Was I ready to let him back in? Or was I just lonely? I didn't know the answer, but his voice stayed in my mind. One afternoon at work, I saw a drawing on a child's desk. It was a picture of a broken heart with a smile. I asked, "What's this?" The little girl said, "It was broken, but I fixed it." I smiled, but inside I felt tears. Maybe hearts can be fixed, but maybe some cracks always stay. That weekend, David messaged again. He asked if I wanted to go for a walk. I said yes. I don't know why. Maybe part of me wanted to believe in something good. We walked by the river again. He talked about his week, about a customer at the shop, about his favorite old movie. I laughed a little, but my mind wasn't calm. I kept looking at him and wondering, can I trust him again? After the walk, we sat on a bench. He looked at me and said, "I know I hurt you. I can't take it back, but I want to show you I've changed." "How?" I asked. "I take things slow now. I don't run from people. I talk more. I've even started seeing a counselor," he said. "I didn't tell you before because I didn't want you to think I was weak." I looked at his hands. He used to hide them in his pockets. Now they were open on his knees. I said, "It's not weak to get help." He smiled. "That's why I told you now, because I want to be honest." For the first time in many months, I saw a little light in his eyes. A quiet light. Not the bright fire from before, but something real. Still, part of me held back. My heart remembered too much. The next week, we met again. I let him come over for coffee. He sat on my sofa, looking around like it was a new place. But it wasn't. He had been here before. Just not lately. He noticed a photo on the wall. A picture of my parents. He asked, "How are they?" "They're fine," I said. "Still ask about you sometimes." He looked down. "I'm sorry for that too." We talked for a long time. Then he left. No kiss, no touch, just a soft goodbye. That night I didn't sleep. I lay in bed, looking at the ceiling. My mind was full of memories. The first time he held my hand. The time he brought soup when I was sick. The day he left without a real goodbye. My heart felt two things at once, pain and warmth. Was it possible to feel both for the same person? The next morning, I went to work early. I helped the children with drawing. One girl drew a big red heart with two small hands holding it. She said, "This is love." I said, "It's very nice." She looked at me and asked, "Are you in love?" I paused. "I don't know." And that was the truth. A few days later, David invited me to his place for dinner. He said he cooked something special. I almost said no, but I didn't. I went. His flat looked cleaner, brighter. He had candles on the table. The food smelled good. We ate slowly and talked about simple things. He played some soft music in the background. He said, "You don't have to say anything tonight. I just want you to know I care." After dinner, he walked me home. We didn't hold hands, but he stayed close. At the door, he said, "Thank you for coming." I looked at him and asked, "Why do you want me back?" He didn't speak for a moment. Then he said, "Because I still love you. And now I understand what that really means." I closed the door and leaned against it. I didn't know if I believed him, but part of me wanted to. The next day, I didn't message him. I wanted space to think. I walked to a park alone. I sat on a bench and watched people. An old couple held hands. A mother pushed a stroller. 2 teenagers laughed and shared a drink. Love looked different for everyone, but all of it needed trust. Did I still have trust? Sophie called that night. She asked, "How's it going with David?" I said, "I don't know. I really don't." She said, "Then wait. Don't rush it. Your heart will tell you." I waited for days. I didn't see David. I didn't call. I cleaned my flat. I read books. I went to work. But the question stayed. Could I open my heart again? On Friday, David sent a voice message. He said, "No matter what you decide, thank you for giving me your time. I don't deserve it, but I'm grateful. Always." I cried when I heard it. Not because it was sad, but because it was kind. That weekend, I sat with a notebook. I didn't write to him. I didn't write a plan. I just wrote my feelings. I wrote about the good times, the pain, the long year without him, and the strange calm I felt now. I still didn't know what to do. Should I forgive? Should I move on? Should I try again? The next time I saw David, we walked again. He didn't ask for an answer. He just stayed by my side. We didn't talk much, but the silence didn't feel heavy. As we reached the end of the path, he turned to me and said, "Whatever you choose, I'll respect it." I looked at him, at the man who once left me without a goodbye, and now stood quietly, waiting. I didn't say anything, because even now, I still don't know what to do.